the heck? There we go. All right, Fresh, what's going on? All right, I think we're good. What's going on, Nightwolf? Hi from Dora, Alabama. All right. Okay. All righty. Daytona. Got at least a few hours. All right, we'll start here in just a second. Let me let some people hop in here. I was gonna put out a video today, but I asked in Discord. People said stream instead. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. What's going on, Nicholas? Karen, Kings Island. Santino, what's cracking? What is going on? Let me see something real quick. Frame donation. What is this? We'll get started here in just a second. I'm letting some people hop in here real quick. Best time to beat the storms from Tally to Orlando. You're going to need to wait a few hours probably. Well, this is moving pretty quickly. You can probably leave in like an hour. And but now because you're all the way down in Orlando, this is going to be tailing off. Yeah, you're going to want to wait a little bit. Why is this not you'll want to wait a few hours. We can look at that. We can look at that in a second. Why is this not in expert mode? There we go. Okay. I mean, we can take a look now. We'll take a look at the latest HRRR. Still setting some things up, so not really ready to do this. All right. Why is that 19Z? What is going on? What is going on? Fine, go to the 18Z. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'd probably want to wait to leave until at least 6 p.m. Yeah. Because then you wouldn't catch up to the storms moving through. 6 p.m. Eastern, yep. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. We'll get started. Give me a second. I'm just fixing a few things here. Fixing a few things on my end. No severe thunderstorm warnings right now. Still watching up here to see if we're going to get any snow. I don't think we're going to get much like I've been saying. I don't think we're going to get much. I know everyone's been freaking out about that. The GFS telling everyone that they're going to get just a ridiculous amount of snow up there, and it's just not probably going to happen. But we'll go over that in a second. I'm just trying to fix one more thing before we get the stream started. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. There are no current tornado warnings. No current tornado warnings. There's a tornado watch, which means the ingredients are there, but there's no tornado warning. A tornado warning would mean that there is potentially an active tornado, but there's none of those. This is weird. Where are the alerts on Radar Omega now? God, I can't stand Radar Omega setup anymore. It was so much better before. What is this? Oh my gosh. What? Oh my gosh. Sorry, one second, guys. I don't even know where the alerts are on Radar Omega anymore. Oh, let me get my Red Bull and then we'll get started. Let me get my Red Bull and then we'll get started.
Euro as a nor'easter now for 23rd.
Because I am tired. Hold up. We're going to get started here. Hold up. I gotta crack my window too so my computer doesn't overheat. Apparently, 7 fans isn't enough. All right, we got some severe thunderstorms in the south. Nothing going on right now. No tornado warnings. No severe thunderstorm warnings. Nothing looks sketchy on the velocity. Not too worried right now. So if something comes up, we will talk about it. But right now, not overly concerned. So that being said, let's take a look at our 7 and 10 day forecast real quick. Let's go over some things. Let's go over some stuff. And then I'll take questions. Santino with $2 super chat. Euro has a nor'easter now for the 23rd. Yeah, Santino, you think I'm surprised? Yeah, man. I actually have, I took a bunch of screenshots of a bunch of people on X saying how much snow the Mid-Atlantic was going to get, just so I could laugh when not much fell. God, I'm mean. Let's see some of these. Let's see. Where did I put them? Oh, yeah. I don't even know where I put these. Oh, yeah. Everything was posting the GraphCast. Everything was posting the GraphCast model. Alrighty. Santino, I appreciate you. Is the snow staying east of Ohio? Yeah. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's run through this real quick. Let's run through everything real quick, and then we will, I'll get to questions. All right? We've got some updates today. We do. We have some updates today. All right, let's take a look at the new Euro. I'll turn the music down a little bit. Let's take a look at the new Euro. Let me get this situated here. That should do it right there. God, why does my... I swear my computer used to never get this hot. I do have 1,000 systems running on it at once, so... All right. There we go. Here we go. This is the latest Euro. So let's take a look at our 7 and 10 day forecast. Obviously, right now, we've got a system moving through the southeast. As we can see, our severe weather is down in Florida. Pretty large tornado watch. We have no severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings right now. As of 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock Eastern. See if I can find my mouse. Now, moving into tonight, the system's going to continue to move off the coast to the east. We get into Monday morning. Maybe you get some snow showers, some mixing, some sleet. I don't expect anyone to have a big day up here in the Mid-Atlantic, but someone could have a surprise 2 to 3 inches. Most people are going to see a dusting to a half inch maybe. Some mixing. Warm air begins to ride More warm air begins to ride into the plains and out east. You're going to get finally a decent warm-up out east as we get into late Monday into Tuesday. And check out Tuesday. We've been talking about this for a while. Tons of snow for everyone. Everyone. Southern Rockies, Central Rockies, Northern Rockies, Sierra Nevada, Cascades, up and down the coast. Low elevation out west. Potentially low elevation for the Pacific Northwest. Potentially low elevation for the Pacific Northwest. We move through Tuesday into Wednesday, and we start to get a nice little storm forming up around this baroclinic boundary up here. You saw low pressure form. Some warm and cold air mashing. So we get this pretty impressive kind of looking low pressure system / clipper up here, putting some snow down through portions of North Dakota, Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. Probably snow and a little bit of mixing to the south. We could actually end up getting a little bit of snow further down south than I think this model is showing right now. But this is where it is right now. Obviously, as we continue to move through Wednesday and Thursday, we're still snowing in the Rockies. But Wednesday and Thursday, we also start to get another snow system out here in New England, northern upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Let's push out through Thursday. This is where things start to get interesting. For the central plains, you can see Nebraska, South Dakota start to get some snow forming. Start to get a snow system moving through here. Kind of got some ridging. All right, so it's trying to ride this baroclinic boundary here. Trying to ride up this and kind of minorly tilt. Right now, it's not showing a super impressive storm moving up through Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's because we don't have a really strong southerly flow here. And we were going over the models yesterday looking at this. We've got some energy from the west. We don't have enough energy from the south to really juice up this low pressure system and turn it into kind of a big, bombing out low pressure blizzard for the upper Midwest. But we're probably going to see some snow through portions of central to southern Minnesota. Decent amount of Wisconsin, you can see here, northern Iowa. Portions of Nebraska, South Dakota, and Michigan. Now, what's interesting here is, as we get into Friday, we still have snow in the Rockies. You guys are going to get so much snow. But look at this. What's happening out here? Another shot, maybe? This, originally, if you go back a couple days, this model actually had this heat, this ridge way, way, way higher. I discussed it back then. I didn't think we were going to have this big push of heat right behind, or I didn't think we'd have this big push of heat here. I did think this would collapse a little bit. It's collapsed a tiny bit, and now we suddenly have the potential for some snow as we push into next Friday out there in the mid-Atlantic. I think this is a realistic situation. We'll see if this cold air wants to collapse, if that 540 line wants to collapse a little bit farther down to the south. But we'll watch that next Friday out along the coast here. You can see that could be some okay snow for portions of the mid-Atlantic and then coastal New England there. We'll see how it develops. Getting into next Saturday, here we go. Little clipper system moving through Kansas, Missouri. This is believable. We're only talking about 144 hours out, okay? This isn't like super la-la land or anything yet. Maybe some severe weather for the southeast. It's probably not too intense based on the look of what's happening here with the future reflectivity. You do start to get a tilt, though, as we get into next Sunday on this system. And there you go. There's the kind of nor'easter that's trying to show up here. I fully believe this cold air. I fully believe this troughing, this pattern. And that's because, go back, and I was talking about this like 5 days ago. Last Monday. This last Monday. So, yeah, 6 days, maybe 7 days ago. Ensembles have been seeing it. Teleconnections have been bouncing on and off it. So, but it's been pretty consistent. And the Euro weeklies, the Euro AI, which has done really well this winter, has also seen this as a possibility for quite a while. And analogs like cold air up and down the coast here at this time as well. So there's been a lot of things pointing towards this, even though we weren't consistently seeing this on the globals. So are we going to have a nor'easter out here next weekend? Maybe. But we don't know for sure. It's too far out. Over 140 hours out. We have to continue to watch. We're not sure where the precipitation... I know I'm pretty confident we're going to have a lot of cold air here, and we're going to have the chance for a system up the coast. But again, storm track, you cannot tell where the storm's going to track this far out. We could end up having this thing through the Ohio Valley. We could end up having it run off the coast. You guys have seen this year, a lot of potential. Gets close, and things start to wobble back and forth. All right, now we get out towards La La Land, pushing out towards 200 hours out, and Big Ridge out west. But it collapses again. More snow out west, more snow up through the upper Midwest. Kind of a repeating pattern here. And you try to get more snow out through the Ohio Valley and east. This is just what I'm talking about when I say winter's not over, though. Tons of snow for the right, because let's just look over the next 10 days. Tons of snow for the Rockies, upper Midwest, northern plains, central plains here, Mid-Atlantic, New England, Central Plains, nor'easter possibility. It's pretty small right now, but you know, there's a pattern there. And then again, you have all this. There's a very cold pattern ahead. There's a lot of moisture, and our stratospheric polar vortex is still looking like it's gonna be struggling, like it's gonna be a little bit disturbed. So let's take a look at that actually really quickly. Stratospheric polar vortex, and we will push up into the northern hemisphere. Here's where we are right now. It's split right now. It is split. And look at these warm anomalies and these heights that are going to try to remain up here over the Arctic for quite a while. That is going to drive a lot of, again, the most freezing air, coldest air on the planet, up in the stratosphere above the North Pole is going to try to push down into the mid-latitudes. We can actually take a look really quickly. Let's get an update right here. Let me make this so you guys can see it a little better. Here we go. Models still liking the thought of potential full reversal of the stratospheric polar vortex as we get out towards the end of February. So something to watch very, very, very closely. Very, very, very closely. Over the next 72 hours, let me actually pull this over here and we'll move this really quick. Over the next 72 hours, where does the NWS... Yeah, over the next 72 hours, where does the NWS expect there to be snow? And how much of it? Well, here's our expected. Again, a dusting to maybe 1.5 inches out here through the mid-Atlantic. Maybe a little bit up here in New England. Over the next 72 hours. Some okay snow for northern Minnesota, northern North Dakota. But again, the Rockies, you're getting slammed. We take a look right here. And, you know, 100-plus inches in Sierra Nevada. And we're probably going to see that up in the Cascades as we move forward in time as well. Now, last thing I want to cover really quickly here. Let's take a look at our European weeklies. Let's take a look at our European weeklies, and then I'm going to get to questions. Let's go to upper 30-day 500 millibar height anomaly. All right, this is from now through March 16th. Now, although we have these kind of oranges and reds out here, we don't actually see a significant ridge. It's low confidence, right? This is like a high confidence. This is a high confidence negative WPO out here from the European weeklies, which is interesting. This can lead to some very cold air in the States. Obviously, we've got some high confidence and some some potential cold air troughing out west. So WPO, negative WPO, cold air downstream into western to central Canada, into potentially the west, northern Rockies region. Does this transfer a little bit farther out east? Does it stick here? That's going to be interesting. Again, it does look warmer during this time frame here, but this isn't high confidence. These are high confidence. So we'll have to see. Taking a look at the teleconnections. Let's see. European AI ensemble, Arctic oscillation, neutral, not a big story there. Not a big story with the NAO. PNA is pretty negative all the way out through March 2nd. That's cold air for the west. Taking a look at our AI, taking a look at our GraphCast, negative PNA, that's cold air for the west. NAO and AO not doing much, pretty neutral. Same thing, look at the European weeklies. Nothing exciting on the Arctic oscillation, but I do think the stratospheric polar vortex disruption is going to change some of this. And we're going to get some sneak cold air in here that the teleconnections aren't really seeing. Taking a look at these current plots. All right. That being said, let me take some questions. I do try to stream every day and upload videos every day when I can. So, yeah, if you like this type of stuff, don't forget to follow, sub. And if you want to join the Discord, everything we look at in these streams is put in the Discord. Every single day I update the Discord with snow forecast, rainfall forecast, severe weather forecast, temperature forecast, hurricane, Enzo. Everything's in the Discord. It's completely free to join. Just click the link down in the description of any one of my YouTube videos. Or just add me, Connor's Climate Corner on Discord. B, what's going on? Becca, what's going on? Appreciate you guys. All three globals and Euro AI have a diving trough for the nor'easter day, and Euro AI is a big storm. Yeah. Someone pulled a clip of me saying like last Monday that I had confidence in a pattern change for the east around February 23rd. Someone go pull that clip. Thanks. Southeastern Massachusetts. Southeastern Massachusetts. Any good storms coming? Not really here in the short term. We'll have to watch this time frame right here next Friday. Next Friday, this is going to be interesting. You could get a decent clipper through here with some cold air to follow. And maybe a secondary storm there. I mean, it could be 2 storms in a row for Massachusetts next weekend, but a little bit out of forecasting range, right? We're just at around 120 hours out. That's like sketchy forecasting range. You really want to get under 96. But we're getting close. We're getting close to that. Let's double check really quickly. Let's make sure nothing crazy is going on here. All right, we got no severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings. That's good. Okay. Yeah, no storm chasers out here. Do we have any traffic cameras down here? How heavy is it raining? Let's see. Virginia. Shocker. Rainfall. Is snow done for the season in the mid-Atlantic? I don't think so. Nope. Nope, not in my opinion. There's all your winter storm warnings out west. We're going to see a lot of snowfall coming in there as we move through tomorrow. As we get into tomorrow, we'll see that storm system moving into the west. I'm ready for some snow in Cleveland, Tennessee. It's possible with the pattern we have ahead. Nice cold air trough. Yeah. As we get into next week. Snow in northern Minnesota on Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, very likely. Could be good. Could be decent snow actually. I don't think northern Minnesota's dodging that. Snow tonight in Philly suburbs. I'm getting mixed forecasts on my apps, so I logged into your live. I wouldn't expect. I think if you end up with an inch or 2, you're extremely lucky. I probably expect it dusting to maybe a half inch, and it could be a little bit of a mix. I don't expect anything significant. I'll show you the latest from the National Weather Service, which is really at this time frame what you should be looking at. Right now, in and around Philly and the suburbs, they're projecting the expected amount is a dusting. I'm looking at it off screen. Yeah, if you get lucky, it's still saying maybe a dusting to an inch. That like a 10% chance you get an inch. Is this track going up to Virginia? 1 second, let me put this. The severe weather is going to stay down in the southeast here. Severe weather is going to stay down in the southeast. We've got some storms up here in Virginia. But no severe weather. No snow. How's New Jersey, Ocean County? I don't know which one's Ocean County. Is that where Ocean City is? You could see some flakes possibly, but probably just going to be a little bit of mixing and some rainfall. Nothing crazy. Got to go fishing on Wednesday and Thursday. Where are you? Long Island, New York. Yeah, you guys could see an inch. I wouldn't expect more than an inch. It's possible, but I wouldn't expect it. You're probably going to get closer to a dusting to a half inch. That's why it's called Poser Spring. Yep. This is a little bit of a fake spring. It is Poser Spring. I thought that said theme meteorologist kid. I'm like, oh, theme meteorologist. It's the meteorologist kid. What's going on? I read that wrong. Itasca County, Minnesota. Don't know where that is either. Oh, you're up there. Yeah, you're probably gonna get some snow here. Yeah, you're probably gonna get some snow Wednesday into Thursday. Yep. Likely. Let's see what the totals are around that area. Let me actually check for you. Let me see. Let me see what the NWS is giving you. Yeah, expecting 1 to 3 inches, probably closer to 1 to 2. High end, if you get super lucky, could end up with like 4 to 5 inches. 10% chance of that. So, a little bit. Our snow out here in Minneapolis Metro is almost... We've had snow on the ground since like Thanksgiving. And there's like so little left. We have like 3 more warm days in a row. I don't know if it's going to survive. I want the snow to survive. We have snow on the way next weekend. Yeah, it's not much. But again, there's a chance on the high end that you could end up with 4 to 5 inches. We'll see. Mark Morgan, what's going on? What's cracking? I haven't looked at the new GFS yet. Let me take a look at this real quick. We still have snow surviving from the middle of January storm on Long Island. Yeah, I believe you. I believe you. Yeah, Minnesota had a streak there beginning like in early December where we didn't hit above freezing for like 2 months straight. But that's more normal for Minnesota. You guys didn't hit above freezing for like almost like 2 to 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. Long Island, which is crazy for the East Coast or for the Mid-Atlantic, New England coast. Yeah, let me take a glance at the GFS real quick. What's this crazy model doing? Still trying to put tons of snow in there. Gosh. All right. I'm agreeing with the Euro up until this point. Kind of agreeing with the Euro here too. Pretty much. Here's where they disagree first. The Euro actually gives us clipper snow right here. The GFS doesn't. Still agreeing back here. And then... Man, I don't know about that. Okay, so the GFS runs our nor'easter off the coast. Okay. Still gives you an opportunity. There's the moisture. There's the cold air. And then it kind of agrees with the Euro here, too. More snow for the upper Midwest. Kind of... The GFS is actually pretty warm except for that one push of cold air. Huh. Let me see something real quick. Let me take a little look-see at something. What's the latest temperature outlook from the CPC? Here we go. 6 to 10 day, not too surprising. 8 to 14, not too surprising. 3 to 4 week, still think this is a little too warm. Still think this is a little too warm out here. What is this? Oh, winter storm watch up there. Okay. Yeah, still think it's a little too warm up there. I've never rooted for warm until this year. Yeah. This is my first Minnesota winter, and I'm like, man, I am kind of looking forward to, like, there's, like, so many lakes around us. Well, I mean, it's a land of 10,000 lakes, but there's so many lakes here, and like, there's so many like, restaurants where you can sit out on the lake, and I'm like, oh, that sounds really, really nice now. I guess it's been so cold. It's so warm. I mean, today it's like 52 degrees here in Minneapolis. We might be breaking a heat record today. I'm not sure, a daily record. But we were quite below average in December and January. I would say this is the first time in my life I'm looking forward to getting out of winter. My wife told me that would happen. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we have a lot of winter left here in Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota still averages snowfall in April. They actually average a trace of snowfall in May, technically. Minnesota averages snowfall in every single... Minnesota averages snowfall in May and in September, like a trace in May and a trace in September, which means June, July, August. Is there only 3 months that Minnesota doesn't average any snow? Yeah, June, July, August. Yeah. But May and September is like a trace. So it's like 5 months where without snow. It was 36 and the sun was beaming, feeling like 55. Yeah. Your dew points can really change how it feels. And, you know, the dew points really have a big effect on snow melt as well. Because if you have like, I mean, if you're like 38 degrees and your dew points are really low, you're not going to get a ton of snow melt. Being tired of snow is crazy work. I'm not tired of snow. I am not tired of snow. I'm rooting for more snow. It's the like being freezing every day. Like I never experienced this long of cold. I love the snow. If there was still snow on the ground outside, I'd probably be like, nah, I don't want spring or summer. But like all our snow just melted. Now it's depressing. But no, I love the snow. Any cold in Pennsylvania? You guys are going to warm up here as we move through the week, but more cold air is pushing in next weekend. Very cold air. Some polar cold air. It's just a lot of putting on clothes all the time. You know what I mean? It's nice just to go outside in shorts and a t-shirt. And like for so long, like every single day I was wearing like my snow boots. And I'm like, I just want to slide on my Crocs. That's the only thing I miss. Yeah, mud season. It is mud season in Minnesota right now. But I do think, yeah, we're going to get a stretch here before winter's over in Minnesota, probably at least for 2 or 3 weeks where it's going to be very cold and snowy again. But yeah, then we're going to go right back in mud season. Do you think we'll get another big storm in North New Jersey? I expect you to get another snowstorm in North New Jersey. I don't know. You know, I don't know what you mean by big, but I expect you guys to get another one that puts 4 or 5 plus inches up there, I think. Even though it's can get rare as you get to late February and March. Well, there's been some big ones late February and March. Yeah, I think you will before it's all said and done. Yeah. Yeah, that's something I never experienced too. Like how ugly everything gets when the snow melts. Everything's just like dirt. And you know what I mean? Everything looks dirty. You know? Dew point is the temperature at which the air becomes completely saturated. Once the air becomes completely saturated, the moisture in the air has nothing to do. It can't do anything but begin to build up into a cloud and precipitate. So if your temperatures don't reach your dew point, it's not going to rain. If the temperatures reach the dew point, it can rain. It can snow. So, but what that has to do is that it pulls more humidity into the air. It helps with snow melt. Dry air doesn't help with snow melt. The higher the dew point, if your temperature matches your dew point, the more humid your air is. Mm-hmm. You know, if your dew point's like 55, but you're only 40 degrees, it's a pretty stable atmosphere above your head. I think, did I say that the wrong way? If your temperature is 55 and your dew point's 40. No, wait. Now I'm mixing myself up. It's the temperature at which your air becomes completely saturated. It's temperature at which a parcel of air becomes 100% saturated, which means the air can no longer hold that moisture. Sticky. What about northeast Georgia? You're going to probably get very cold next weekend. I don't expect the cold to really stick around in the southeast, but I think we could have that cold sticking around in the Ohio Valley and in the northeast. So let's take a look at our temperature anomalies. Actually, I'm going to go to the ensemble. European ensemble. Surface. Anomalies. Here we go. Pushing through this week. We're warm. Plains and out east. We get into Friday. Saturday. Here we go. Here's this kind of blast of cold air as we get into really Sunday. There we go. The east gets very cold. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then we get some heat returning. It's trying to favor the southeast. I actually think that this is going to be a little bit cooler. The anomalies here are going to end up being a little bit cooler, but we will have some high heat anomalies here to the south as we push towards the end of February. You can see the models kind of trying to do that here, trying to put the coldest temperature anomalies up through the Midwest and then the Mid-Atlantic and New England as we move through the end of February into early March. I guess they just have it a little bit delayed of what I think. But we have a lot of cold air to tap into. We have a lot of cold air to tap into. I mean, look at these anomalies in Alaska and Western Canada. Look at this. Staying cold, staying cold, staying cold. This is going to allow a lot of cold air to continue to feed out east. And that combined with our stratospheric polar vortex disruption is going to, I think, lead to some sort of major cold outbreak in the States and potentially another southern, I'm not going to say it far south, but another kind of chance for snowfall, you know, out through this region again of a big snowstorm. All right. Any more chance for snow in central Kansas? Even, I mean, I think it's the Euro that puts snow through Kansas. This is next weekend on the Euro. So it's a possibility that this happens. It's not too far out. See that? It's a possibility. In Orlando, and it's nice with light wind gusts. Yeah, it's gonna intensify a little bit in Orlando though. It's gonna get a little bit more dicey here. Here, let's just go to our radar. Let's go to Tampa Bay. This squall line right here is going to be heading your direction later today. Let's call it 7, 8 p.m. Could be wrong. I mean, let me take another look at the HRRR. There's Orlando. Yeah, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10. So we may have a tornado watch extended down to the south here. Potentially. Later this evening. Could happen. Oh, wait, what the heck? And who never snows on the weekends? I need a snow day. Yeah, there's been a lot of snow on the weekends out east. So that's why in the summer it feels musty. Facts. Yep. Let me show you something. Speaking of that, speaking of dew points, that question on dew points. Let me show you something. Let's take a look at Orlando. Here's Orlando. Let me know when you think the rain's going to begin in Orlando. Watch the dew point reach the temperature. See how the green line here? Here's our dew. Here's our temperature. Watch them come together as we get. Okay, this is around 6, 7, 8, 9. Notice the dew point and the temperature kind of become one. The air is completely saturated at this point. There's nothing for the rainfall. The moisture in the air can do nothing but fall. It cannot. Water particles are pretty much levitating in the air. That's what humidity is. It's literally water particles are they can kind of just float in the air, but eventually the particle gets so saturated, there's literally nowhere else for these water particles cannot. It's done. They have to fall. It's too heavy. There's nowhere for them to go. This is when the dew point reaches our temperature, it completely saturates the air. And that's why when you look at this, you look at it for snow too. Here's our dew point temperature. Boom. They smash together right there. You can really see it at the surface here. This would be at around 11. You see that right there? And then, again, right after it moves through, the dew point and temperatures get real far from each other. They separate again. Your parcel of air isn't completely saturated anymore. So, but you can see during a big snowstorms, when we look at soundings, sometimes if you want to see heavy snow, during snowstorms, we don't just look at how saturated is the parcel of air. This is a pretty saturated parcel of air. But if all that saturation is below this, it's called a skew T chart because the lines are skewed, right? The 0 line, this is the freezing line. It doesn't go like this. It skews to the right. So in a snowstorm, the way you look at it, that was a really bad line. In a snowstorm, you look at it like this. If all of this saturated air, say this was shifted over here and was like this, you'd be like, oh, that's all snow. It's all below the freezing line. But you know, if it was like this and it came over here a little bit and then it came back, you'd be like, uh-oh, that's all snow. Uh-oh, and then the snow melts. Now it's rain. Oh, and then it freezes right before it hits the ground. That would be a look of freezing rain. And then you get a mix when you see a saturated air come like this and kind of ride, or wintry mix kind of ride down the 0, kind of ride down your freezing. Then you start to get a mix, you can get sleet. So soundings can be really useful to really understand what's going on. All we're looking at is here. Here's the 1,000 millibar. Me and you, we're right here. This is where we live. This is me. This is my mods hanging out. Banning mean people from chat. Okay. It's me and my mods. There you go. There's Kyle, Santino, Emmanuel. There we are. There's Morgan. Right? We're all like having a party down here at 1,000 millibars. Here's where our jet stream is. 500 millibars. This is where like the main jet stream is on planet Earth. You guys know what our jet stream is. It's what transfers. It's what moves our weather systems. It's what moves our high pressures and ridges and our low pressures. But a lot of the clouds that we see aren't up at 500 millibars. You know, they're down here. They're much farther. They're much farther down here. So this is what you look at to get saturated. And then, you know, here's the tropopause. Here's the tropopause, 100 millibars. This is right before we hit the stratosphere. Simple enough. Really basic stuff. Really basic stuff. Do you know what's going on in Cali tomorrow? Yeah. Torrential downpours and heavy for low elevation and heavy snowfall for the mountains. I don't expect well, I'm not overly concerned about tornadoes in California, but they happen every now and then. They're just not extremely common. Let's take a look. I don't think there'd be any sort of tornado. Maybe a 2%. Is there a 2% tornado watch out there? 2% tornado risk zone out there tomorrow. Oh wow, look at that. They do have a little 2%er. Nothing to be overly concerned about. Even if we did get a tornado out here, EF0 to EF1, maybe. You're not going to have a ton of instability out here. Well, you could have instability. You're probably not going to have a ton of shear with instability. So 2%. I don't think they'd put this up to 5%. I'm mainly worried about flooding and landslides out here more than tornadoes. But yeah, a couple tornado spin-ups are possible. Really hard to get strong tornadoes out here just because you don't have the instability like you have off the warm Gulf and Atlantic. Interesting, though, that they have that out there. Yeah, Southern Cali. Yeah, I mean, let me show you. Wait. Oh, we got a severe thunderstorm warning? What just turned off? I just heard something turn off. Where's our severe thunderstorm warning? Oh, right in there. Okay. Severe thunderstorm warning heading to the northeast, heading towards Lake City. Definitely some high velocities in here. I don't see anything rotating, which is good. But Brantford, Lake City, Florida, just be aware you could have some damaging winds moving through there. Just be aware. Here, let's take a look at this real quick. All right, we're gonna go into here. We'll go into HRRR. And then we'll go take a look at Southern California. Okay. Let's move to the 18Z. I mean, you got a little bit of a... Actually, I don't want to be this far zoomed in. Can we do this? Here we go. Here's our system moving in tomorrow. Now you can see the low spinning off the coast. Here it is. There's your low. So this is kind of the whip, the tail whipping around into the coast. So this is going to cause some vorticity. This is going to cause some spin in these cells because they're whipping around the center of the low. That's going to be your natural rotational shear. And with a lot of moisture, you're going to have naturally instability with a little bit of vorticity in these. Now, you don't have super warm air. You don't have a big clash of cold. You don't have a big temperature gradient. You don't have a major pressure gradient either. But again, the natural vorticity with the whip of this low pressure system and then the instability of just how much energy is associated with this low pressure. Yeah, you could get a little spin. You could get some spin ups in here, but they wouldn't be expected to be super strong tornadoes, but you could get EF0s, EF1s in here. That can do damage. We're talking 75 to 100, 100 and I'd say probably 75 to like 105 mile per hour wind tornadoes could spawn up in here, which is pretty low end, but if that goes directly over your house, it's doing a lot of damage. But this is just an absorbent amount of rainfall. That's what I'm really worried about. And you see the Sierra Nevadas just get slammed. And then here's round 2, by the way, right behind it. This is tomorrow. California is going to look like a war zone on the map tomorrow. It's going to look wild. I bet you can see this thing spinning on the temperatures. Look. See our low pressure system spinning on the... Look at that. This is pretty cool. Dang, look how cold the Euro has it getting at the end of this. What the heck? Huh. These are crazy anomalies. Okay. Let me get back to answering some questions. Crazy that there's flooding when they're usually in a drought. Just my luck. Well, you're more likely to flood after you've been in a drought for a long time. Well, I shouldn't say that. Areas that don't see a lot of rainfall are more likely to flood when they see heavy rainfall because they're, these regions aren't made. You're not supposed to get a lot of rainfall in desert regions. The soil, it doesn't absorb the rainfall like the soil out east does. But yeah, they have been in a drought all winter, and you're flying out there when the drought's gonna snap. It's not gonna completely snap, but Actually, California itself has not been doing bad. The West has been in a drought. California actually hasn't been doing that bad. Take a look. Look at California. What drought? Interesting, huh? Interesting. Thank you, leaving the snow. North New York for the week. And wanted Sunday in Cali. And getting this. Yeah, it's gonna be no, you want it, want sun in Cali, sorry. Yeah. Oh look, tornado warning. Tornado warning. Wee-oo. I guess my alerts are turned off. That's so weird why they're not working anymore. I have the sound turned on here and I have it turned on with my widget. I don't know what is going on with alert sounds lately. Anyways, let me read this off to you really quickly. Tornado warning for Central Lafayette County in Big Bend, Florida until 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. At 3:41 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Mayo, moving northeast at 65 miles per hour. Jeez, that's fast. Flying debris will be dangerous. If caught without shelter, mobile homes will be damaged, destroyed, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we know tornadoes are bad. They do damage. But let's take a look. How serious is this? Hard to tell if we have an actual serious couplet here. You can see the rotation. I don't see... it's hard to tell if there is a tornado on the ground. Let's... Lake City, be prepared. Just be prepared, just in case. Again, basement. If you have a basement away from windows, most interior room in your home. This is heading right up towards Lake City. I see rotation. I don't see a strong couplet. Doesn't appear to be that there's a... that doesn't appear to me that there's even a tornado on the ground, but there is rotation in the clouds, which means if there's not one, there could be any second. So treat it like there is one in case we do get this thing rotating on the ground. And it could be on the ground right now, too. Like I always say, radars aren't perfect. Sometimes they miss things. But for the sake of not freaking out, this doesn't look too volatile right now. Doesn't look too dangerous. We can see the rotation. Tiny little couplet here. Here's your couplet. This is what it's highlighting right there. So just be prepared for that Lake City and surrounding region that's heading out toward you. Wouldn't be a very healthy tornado because there's so much rainfall out ahead of it. Beautiful sunny and 55 in Indiana today. Yeah, I bet. It's like 51 and sunny here in Minneapolis. San Diego seen snow? Yeah. When I lived in LA, it snowed actually in the valley. Light, didn't really accumulate, but snowed in the valley. Burbank, North Hollywood. Pretty rare. Finally close to the 50s near Erie. Yeah, that's going to change next weekend. Enjoy it while it lasts. As we get towards the end of next week, it'll start to change. When will it hit Daytona Speedway? Right now, we're thinking we'll call it 7 to 8 p.m. We'll call it, right now it's looking like closer to 8 p.m. But you usually want to give or take an hour because the models aren't perfect, but closer to 8 p.m. Yep. So weird. All my notifications have just stopped working. I know that person who makes this overlay is actually, they're working on a big update right now and they're fixing some things. That's why I think some the notifications and stuff like that are down because they're actually working on the code in the back end right now, getting ready to release version 8. So I'd rather him do that now and get this overlay all brand new and update it before actual severe season, because this isn't looking too crazy right now, which is good. is this? Oh, there we go. Will the race be affected? It depends what time it's at. What time's the race at? Oh, the race will be over by then? Nice. All right. I'm going to hop off. The Discord should be updated with all the latest weather updates. Appreciate anyone who followed sub. Gifted just was in here, obviously, hanging out, helping the algorithm. I'll post a segment of the stream today where I talked about kind of what's going on with the forecast and everything on my YouTube video if you guys want to check that out. Tomorrow I should be able to post a video. I'll try to post it early. Obviously, I have the day off of work tomorrow. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the Mid-Atlantic tonight into tomorrow morning. I'd expect the dusting to an inch. If you get more, you got really lucky. It's not going to be too much snow up there. No, there's like no basements anywhere in Florida. Maybe North Florida. I mean, the highest elevation in Florida is like 400 feet. Like the highest point. Anywhere from like literally Daytona, like Orlando, and not even farther north, Gainesville and south. If you were to put a basement in, you're underwater. Like you dig down a foot and it's water. So there could be some basements in northern Florida, up in the Panhandle somewhere, but the thing is, Florida has really strict building code, especially after what happened between 2004 and 2007. Those hurricanes, Florida got slammed by major hurricane after major hurricane, and they passed a bunch of legislation really cracking down on building code. So although a lot of Florida homes don't have basements, their structures are pretty sturdy when it comes to, if potential impacts from tornadoes. They're built a lot stronger than like homes up north. You can't just have like a purely wood framed home in Florida. You can, but could get you in trouble. They're pretty reinforced. Mike, Midwest KJ, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I don't know why I said that about Lake City. It's possible there's some people have storm shelters up there, but yeah, you can't really go far down. Hurricane Andrew caused building codes to change. Yeah, well, Hurricane Andrew caused building codes to change. I think, what was Hurricane Andrew, 93 or 91? 93, I think. And then we had between like 2004 and 2007, we had like Charlie, Wilma, Katrina that only went over South Florida as a tropical storm to Category 1. What did we have? Ivan, Gene, Francis, a ton of hurricanes, strong hurricanes, and they passed even more legislation to increase that targeted stronger structures along the coast, especially. Oh, 108 laps to go. Yeah, Daytona 500 should be good. Yeah, because Hurricane Andrew flattened, like, I want to say thousands of homes in Miami-Dade. Flattened them. It looked like an F5, an EF5 tornado. What was it called? F back then. An F5 tornado just went over entire neighborhoods. They were just all wood framed, and they got flattened. That is one of the reasons. Hurricane Andrew actually made landfall as a Category 4. And then they looked at the damage afterwards, and they said, and it's one of the only times in history they looked at the damage afterwards and said, I think we messed up because it had to have been a Cat 5 to do this much damage. They were seeing steel that was bent. Entire neighborhoods were wiped out. And remember, you don't do a pass of a hurricane when it's about to make landfall. Hurricane hunters will not fly over a hurricane over land or when it's about to make landfall. And they hadn't done a final pass hours. It had been hours before Hurricane Andrew made landfall. And they're pretty sure it was continuing to undergo rapid intensification as it made landfall. So they ended up saying this probably made landfall as a Cat 5. It probably actually had 20 to 30 mile per hour winds It was probably 20 to 30 mile per hour stronger than what we actually originally projected when they looked at the damage. Yeah, it flattened entire communities, yeah. The pictures from it are insane. Hurricane Wilma and Andrew are completely two different storms. Wilma, billions of dollars because of flooding. Wilma only made landfall as a Category 3. Or not Wilma, sorry, Katrina. Katrina only made landfall as a Category 3, but flooding, billions of dollars. Andrew was pure freaking wind. Wind leveled everything. Yep. Snow totals for tonight, Long Island. If you get over an inch, you're really lucky. It's probably a dusting to an inch somewhere in there. Maybe I'd expect close to a half inch. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to make some posts. I will see you a little bit later. I'll try to get on, post that video tomorrow, and then hop on another live stream tomorrow. Appreciate all you. Enjoy your Sunday. See you.